everybody. This is Dr. Francois again, and I am very happy today to welcome someone that is very special to me because this is a Sri Lankan. We have today a Sri Lankan doctor. It's very rare because most of our speakers are from abroad, and I live in Sri Lanka, so why not honor the people that are doing complementary therapies in Sri Lanka? And today our guest is embody himself as a complementary therapist because his training is going to all sorts of complementary therapies modality. First of all, he's a trainee of Sir Anton Jayasuriya, which is a very famous person in Sri Lanka. He's going to talk to us about him. Sir Anton Jayasuriya created a very important institution in the country called Medicina Alternativa, and he's an acupuncturist. And Sir, first of all, Tharindu Fernando, our guest today, was a trainee from Professor Anton Jayasuriya. But not only that, he was also interested in a very special complementary therapy modality that we don't hear a lot about, which is called Iridology. And there is a specific reason why Sir Tharindu is with us today, because he's also the president of the South Asia Iridology Association, which is a very high level degree. So anyway, Tharindu is everything. So we will introduce you better in the interview. Dear Tharindu, thank you so much for accepting this invitation today.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for inviting me here.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it.
Right. Sir Tharindu, please tell us about your journey, because you started, I believe that your very first journey to the health field was in acupuncture with Sir Anton Jayasuriya, isn't it?
Yes, of course. Yes, of course. So I started learning acupuncture in the around 2004. At the same time, I was studying optometry as well. So I was studying both modalities, the optometry, that is from Sir Ruparatna Vijayatunga, and acupuncture from Medicina Alternativa. And I had the privilege of meeting Professor Anton Jayasuriya. I have to say, he is one of the greatest personalities I have ever seen. So he's known all around the world, and most of the best acupuncturists around the world are his students. So I find myself blessed to meet him and to learn from him. I learned a lot of things from him, and I love acupuncture. That was the beginning of my journey. So I studied acupuncture at the hospital, and then we practiced acupuncture with homeopathy. Actually, Professor Anton Jayasuriya discovered a method called homeopuncture, where he inserted the needles in homeopathic medicine and then punctured. I mean, used the needling
Really?
needles. Yes, yes. That he called it homeopuncture.
Oh.
So those times were like pretty amazing, working with him and working with a lot of foreign doctors from all around the world. It was super amazing. So
So, so
yeah,
you were at the same time pursuing a double training. At the same time, you were pursuing a training in ophthalmology, which is not iridology at all, but we're going to talk about iridology. So you were pursuing a
yeah,
training in ophthalmology and then in acupuncture at the same time, isn't it?
yeah, yes, at the
Two
same
things,
time. So
two things at the same time.
two things at the same time. So my optometry classes were on Sundays, and I had to travel all the way from Colombo to Kandy. Kandy is the center of Sri Lanka. It takes those days. It took like about 4 hours 3 to 4 hours from Colombo to Kandy, and sometimes we travel in the train. So every Sunday early morning, I would travel to Kandy to learn optometry, and I practiced at Professor Anton Jayasuriya's hospital. At those days, we had the hospital at Vellavatta. So we practiced there on weekdays. Then Sundays, I travel to Kandy to learn optometry. So it was like that for almost like 3-4 years, because the optometry course also was for 3.5 years. Then while studying acupuncture, I learned a lot of alternative therapies, and basically we used acupuncture only.
Yeah.
Then acupuncture, acupressure, and it was going on like this for some time until I met this book about iridology. So I saw this book, Iridology, and I was attracted to this book because it had a big iris in its cover. So already I was studying about the eye and all, so I was attracted to the cover, and I got the book.
So
Then I went.
iridology is about the eye as well, but it is quite different from
Yes, it's
ophthalmology
it's
and
it's it's
optometry. Huh?
different.
It
It's
is
different. It's
completely different, right?
yes, it's totally different, because like iridology, we use the iris of the eye and the sclera of the eye, that is the white part of the eye. By looking at the iris and the sclera, we can tell a lot of things about the human body. I call the iris as the blueprint of your system, of your body. So if it's like the blueprint, everything is there, every detail is there. So we can tell about your family health issues, which problems or which conditions comes from your mother's side, and which conditions come from your father's side, like that. So it's like the blueprint. By looking at the iris of someone, we can tell a lot of things, and also we can tell about the behavioral patterns, how a person thinks. It's a huge subject actually.
Right, I understand. So, can we compare, for those that don't know about this modality, iridology like reflexology or auriculotherapy, where in these modality, reflexology, the hand actually is the mirror of the rest of the body, and in auriculotherapy, the ear is the mirror of the rest of the body. Is iridology the same thing, or is there a difference? Tell us on, is my comparison is a good or a bad comparison, Sir Tharindu?
Yeah, the comparison is good, but iridology has something more. Like, for example, in reflexology, we say the whole body is in your palm, and even in sujok, we say the whole body is in your palm. But in iridology, the whole body is in your iris, plus the genetic factors which comes, the genetic signs which comes from your family is also in the iris. So that is the main difference. And also, other than apart from reflexology, now reflexology, you cannot reveal about the way a person thinks, but by studying the iris, you can reveal that also.
What do you mean? How can you do that? How can you do what people think? How explain
Okay,
me that? Because
that is, yeah.
sometimes I have difficulty to understand myself about that. So how can you
Okay.
do that?
Yes, it's like this. Now, if I look at your iris, if I analyze your iris properly, I can tell whether you are an introvert or an extrovert, and I can tell whether you are highly ambitious, and I can tell whether you are creative. And like we are doing iridology for children, and by looking at the irises of the youth and the children, we can advise them on which paths to select. Now, some eyes are there. When we look at them, we know that they are very creative. They can be very creative. So I ask them and I tell them, "Do you write books?" and the best jobs for them is to be creators, to invent stuff, and to talk with people. And so most of the time when we check the adult irisers, when I ask them, have you written any book, most of the time the answer is yes. So that means they have realized somehow that they are creative, they can write things, they can make dramas, they can make movies like that. And
Don't
there
examine my eyes then.
and there are certain irises, when we see, we know that they are very like bossy, like those people are most suitable to become like CEOs of companies, but it's little difficult to like cope with them. I mean, these people surrounding find it so difficult to work with them because they are so hard. So those things also can be revealed by looking at the iris. So it's a beautiful subject.
Oh, I did not know that. But so let's come back to your origin, the origin of your passion. You saw this big iris on a book, and it
Yes.
blew your mind. Suddenly, you decide to start to study about that modality, right?
Yes, I went through the book several times, and then I wanted to study more. So I contacted the International Iridology Practitioners Association. At that time, the immediate past president was Madam Betty O'Brien. So I contacted her, and I applied for her class. Then she was so pleased to take me to her class because now in my profile she read that I have been studying optometry, acupuncture, and stuff, and I'm a quick learner actually. So she was pleased to take me to the class, and then I learned from her. uh, the course was like for about like 3-4 months. Then there was a there was an examination. At the same time, now I'm a very good learner, plus I'm a very good teacher. So at the same time, whatever I learned from her, I was already teaching my students. I've been doing classes in optometry for some time, since 2010. So I was teaching my optometry students about iridology, because optometry students already had these magnifiers, they already had the ophthalmoscopes, they already had these slit lamps, so that they can see the iris enlarged properly. So they were so anxious to learn this new subject, and I did many workshops, I did many speeches about iridology at Sri Lanka Optometric Association as well, and I was already teaching whatever I learned. So we managed to organize a huge congress also in Sri Lanka in 2017. We organized the first ever Asian Congress.
Yeah,
All
yeah, but
these,
you're jumping a big
yes,
step because you became the
yes,
president of the South Asian
yes,
Iridology Association, right? You became so
yeah.
you are a fast learner, and maybe in your eyes it is written that you are
Yes,
ambitious.
yes, yes. It's there. It's there. It's there. Actually, my eyes were like analyzed by Sir Christos Miliankos, Madam Betty O'Brien, Madam Tony Miller, Madam Elentard Jensen. So everyone analyzed my eyes because they were so fascinated, and they really wanted to see my iris patterns, and it's there.
Right. So you managed to organize a huge congress in Sri Lanka, right?
Yes, yes. We
Iridology
organized.
Association, South Asian International Congress. You did.
It's an international congress, because all these years the iridology world congress was in either USA or Australia. So most of the Sri Lankan students find it so difficult to travel to USA or Australia to participate to this congress. So I spoke to the International Iridology Association, and then I asked permission to have a congress here in Sri Lanka. And there were some online meetings, and they agreed to let me have it, and we had a super wonderful congress. And we managed to like bring down most of the instructors from the International Iridology Association, and with the big shots of iridology like Ellen Tart Jensen, Madam Tony Miller, and the president at that time, Sir Christos Miliankos. and my beloved teacher, the immediate past president, Madam Betty Sue O'Brien. So we managed to bring down everyone from USA and Australia to participate at this Congress.
Right. Okay, so let's jump into the modality itself because it's a little bit a mystery for me. How can we diagnose? Because I believe that we can, as far as I know in iridology, we can not only tell the psychology of the person, but also it's a way to diagnose disease, chronic disease, and all. So explain us what is it about and what can you do with iridology?
Yes. The first things we see of a person's iris is the color of the iris. Now, according to iridology, there are mainly three colors of the irises: blue irises, brown irises, and the mixed ones, the mixed irises. Now, in Sri Lanka, more than 95% of the irises are brown. So, almost everyone has brown irises. So by looking at the color of the iris, we can tell a certain amount of things. For example, blue-eyed people, we call them lymphatics because most of the time they have problems with the lymphatic drainage, the lymphatic system. Then the brown eyes people, we call them hematogenics. So most of the time they have problems related to the blood system, circulatory system, like uh, problems in the blood like calcium deficiencies, iron deficiencies, then diabetes. These are more prone in brown-eyed people. So this is just a very basic thing in iridology. By looking at the color of someone, we can analyze a very basic stuff. Then we go to see the structure of the iris. Now the structures, there are mainly four structures. Uh, we call those structures the name wise connective tissue structure, then neurogenic structure, anxiety tetanic, and glandular. So these are the main four structures. Now according to the structure, we can tell a lot of things. For example, a neurogenic person will be very healthy, physically very healthy, but that person's neurological system may have problems. It doesn't tell exactly this person will definitely have a problem in the neurological system. No, it says he is more prone to get these issues. Now, why iridology is not so famous in around the world is this: because
I was about to ask.
yes, because when iridology was first found, or I would like to call it reinvented, because I believe, uh, I mean, long time ago, maybe thousands of years ago, I believe this subject has been there. But in the recent history, when it was reinvented by Dr. Pesley, it was in 1826. So when it was reinvented, the the cameras, the technology was not so I mean sophisticated like now. They just used magnifying glasses and then analyzed the irises. But there were some small mistakes in the uh, old iridology system. The mistakes were, like, let's say now, as I told you, the iris tells about the whole body of the it has the whole body in the iris. It's like the
Right.
blueprint. There is a certain area representing the kidneys, and there is a certain area representing the heart, and a certain area representing the brain, thyroid glands. Likewise, there are areas, we call them reflex zones, representing the various systems and the organs of the body. Now, in old age, when an iridologist found that a weakness in the iris in the representative organ. Let's say, for example, if someone found a weakness in the area which represents the kidneys. So the old iridologists, they said, you have a problem in your kidneys. But
Oh, right.
sometimes it was correct, sometimes it was wrong. Some people found no problem in the kidneys, but still the iridologist kept saying that the sign is there. So this was the problem in old age iridology. But after some time, another iridologist, Joseph Deck, he realized actually this indicates not a problem in the kidney. It indicates that there can be a predisposition of a kidney weakness in the family history.
Ah,
So after the iridologist Joseph Deck, his students told this perfectly. Like, if you find any problem or any weakness in the kidney reflex zone, that doesn't mean that this person's kidneys has a problem. It means there is a weakness in the family history of the kidney. So that means this person can easily develop a problem in the kidney. He may not, he may.
ah.
So we
So
now,
it
yeah,
becomes like an alarm system.
yes. So now what we tell our clients is, if we find any weak area, I mean, for example, the kidneys, let's say, if we find a weakness in the kidney reflex zone, we tell that there is a tendency for you to develop any kidney issue. But it is like you are having the switch with you. If you want, you can keep it switched off, or if you want, you can switch it on. How to switch it on means, if you don't take care of your kidneys properly, then you can easily get this problem. So we call this point a nurture point, meaning that you have to nurture this point more, more than the other organs. So likewise, that is how what we do now. When
Right.
we see an iris, we tell the nurture points. Like, if I look at your iris, I would see all the nurture points, and I will tell you, okay, the main nurture points are these, so you have to take care of these points.
When the patient is correcting this situation, if, for example, you find something in the kidney area, does these points in the eyes are going to change or they are going to stay stable? Is there a reflection of how the patient is improving or not improving the situation that you may find with these points?
Okay, now that is also a very good question. Those days, like I said, the old system, the old iridologists, they thought that if there is a weak area in the iris, and if we take care of that organ properly, the iris weakness will go away. Like, new fibers will form, and that weak area will be again stronger. But it doesn't happen that way. If you find a weak area in the iris, no matter how much you take care of that particular reflex organ, that weak area, the less fiber structure, will remain the same. But there are changes which can happen in the iris. Now, like Madam Tony says in her book, right, the iris color becomes darker when we become older. That means it develops more and more pigmentation in the iris. In a way, it is good, because the more pigments you have, the more you can face the environment, and the more you can fight with the diseases. So this is what happens. Like, the if I answer your question directly, no, it doesn't change like that. But sometimes you see changes in the sclera, mainly the white part of the eye. Like, uh, by looking at the white part of the eye, most probably you can tell something which is going on at the moment. By
Right.
looking at the iris, you can tell the more potential issues where the client can face in future, or he may already been facing them.
Right, right, right. So now that you studied acupuncture with Sir Anton Jayasuriya, you practiced it. So how do you, I would say, how do you combine these two modalities? What is the junction between these two modalities? Are you using both when you meet clients? What are you doing with these two modalities together?
Yes, I use both of them, and now I use suture therapy as well. So, iridology tells you what kind of person you are dealing with. Like Hippocrates said, it is more important to know which kind of man has the disease than to know which disease the man has.
Mm,
So, iridology gives you a beautiful way to analyze the person. Now, by looking at the iris, I can tell whether this person's digestive tract is good enough to digest raw food, or is it not, I mean, it's too strong to digest raw food. Now, you may have seen a lot of naturopaths, they tell every client, go for raw food, raw vegetables, raw everything. But every client cannot tolerate this, because the digestive tract has different energies in each individual. So if the energy level of the digestive tract is weak, I don't recommend raw diet. So likewise, by looking at the iris, I can plan the treatment plan properly, and I can customize the treatment plan exactly according to the individual. And I use those acupuncture points. Now, if I find someone's now, the first thing I do is the analysis of the iris. So if I find the person has weak areas in the circulatory system and a weak area in the lungs or the kidneys, depending on these weak areas, or we call them nurture points, depending on these nurture points, I plan the acupuncture or acupressure treatments. Now, for the kidneys, there are certain acupuncture points. For the lungs, there are certain acupuncture points. So iridology helps me a lot to plan the exact acupuncture points and to plan my holistic treatment well.
Yes, yes, I understand. So you are using it as kind of a way to diagnose and
Yes.
to direct yourself and to understand your patient. But most of the iridologists do not necessarily combine acupuncture. Iridology is a way to diagnose, but they are not necessarily acupuncturists. Iridologists in the world, do they always combine with another healing modality, or some of them are only iridologists?
Not always. They do not always combine, but most of the iridologists around the world are naturopaths. So they give a lot of natural remedies. Like my teachers, Madam Tony Miller, Sir Christos, and Betty O'Brien, they are naturopaths. They have a lot of natural remedies for a lot of health issues. So whenever they see, if they see the lung is weak or the liver is weak, they have a lot of remedies, a lot of herbs, and a lot of recipes to make the lungs stronger in each individual. So most of the iridologists around the world are naturopaths. And in India, I have a lot of students. I have taught them iridology. Most of them are acupuncturists or sujok therapists. Now, sujok is another beautiful science.
Yeah, well,
Yes.
you are extrapolating my question. I wanted to know, what is that? What is Sujo?
Yeah, sujok is, I would say, it is the most advanced stage of acupuncture. It was invented by a Korean professor, Professor Park. So Professor Park learned acupuncture well, but he had a lot of questions which could not be answered by the theories of acupuncture, which could not be answered by five element theory. So he developed the six element theory, or we call it six key, six energies. And Sujok says that the whole body is in your hand. Now, this is the head, the face, and the head area. And these two, the middle two fingers are your legs, and the other two fingers are your arms. So, uh, it is like a reflex to the whole body, and it works very fast. It works very fast. So, for chronic pains, for diabetes, for high blood pressure, for headaches, migraine, and stuff, it works wonderfully.
Is it like the acupuncture, the equivalent of acupuncture for reflexology? And is there a correlation between the maps of the hand in reflexology and in Suju, or is it different?
Yeah, there is a correlation in the map, and it sujok also we use needles, but the sujok needle is little bit small. We use a very small needle in sujok, and most of the time now in acupuncture there are certain angles we prick the needle, whether it's perpendicular or at 30 degrees, 45, like that. But in sujok, most of the time we needle in a very like parallel angle. It's almost parallel to the skin. So, and we do not penetrate the needle that much into the skin, not like in acupuncture. So there are various differences and similarities. And I have now, let's say, if I take 6 months to work on a case with acupuncture, the same case I can work with sujok and give very good results within like 1 month. So it is very fast.
It is faster.
It's faster, yes.
Right. So it's very interesting because you also have a knowledge in nutrition and you are
Yes.
able to become a nutritional coach to your patient as I heard. So where did you get that training and how do you apply that in your clinical aspect?
Nutrition, actually, when working with Professor Anton Jayasuriya, he was always talking about the herbs, the flowers, the plants, food. It was all the time like that. So nutrition, I got a lot of knowledge from Professor Anton Jayasuriya. And then from Madam Ellen Tart Jensen and Madam Betty Sue O'Brien, and my teachers, Madam Tony Miller and Sir Christo. So I got a lot of knowledge about nutrition, naturopathy from these teachers. And also, I got a lot of knowledge from my Sujok instructor. He's Dr. Ajay Singh. He's the best instructor in India for Sujok. I got a lot of knowledge in Sujok as well as naturopathy from him as well. Actually, I'm his Iridology teacher and he is my Sujok teacher.
Ah, that's a very good exchange. Very good.
Yes, it's a very good exchange. I met him because he really wanted to learn Iridology. And at that time, I was already teaching Iridology in India. I got a call from him telling that I'm Dr. Ajay Singh from India. I want to learn Iridology. Then I spoke to some of my existing students in India, and I said I got a call from this person, Dr. Ajay Singh. Then they were shocked. They were telling, "Did you get a call from Dr. Ajay Singh? Do you know who that is? He's the master in Sujok in India." I said, "Okay." Then anyway, we organized a beautiful class in Kolkata at Dr. Ajay Singh's clinic, and it was highly successful. And then I was interested in Sujok also because I got to know that he's the best instructor of this particular subject. So I wanted to know about this subject. Then only I got to know that Sujok is one of the most advanced stages in acupuncture. And the next class I joined, his next class. So I learned Sujok from him.
All right. So as most of, well, you can define yourself as a integrative medicine or I would say complementary therapist. And
Yes, I
in
prefer the word integrated. Yes.
integrated, right. Okay, explain me that because I have another sub question. How do you define integrative medicine in your practice and in general? What is that about?
Yeah, actually, what we should do, this is what we should do. We should have a client based medical system. Now what we see in this world is if you go to a western doctor, the western doctor will give western medicine and he will criticize all the other modalities. Then if you go to an ayurvedic doctor, I'm talking about most of them, not everyone, he will give you Ayurvedic medicine and criticize all the other modalities. Then, if you go to an acupuncturist, the acupuncturist will criticize the other modalities and give acupuncture. But if we really think about our patient or the client, we should take every good thing from Western medicine. We should take every good thing from acupuncture. We should take every good thing from Sujok therapy and Ayurvedic remedies, and we should apply it to our client. So I believe that there should be hospitals where a Western doctor, an Ayurvedic doctor, an acupuncturist, a physiotherapist, a naturopath, everyone is there together and treat the client with all the modalities, whatever is suitable for the client according to the constitution and the condition of the client. So,
Right.
like,
So, and designing a treatment plan based on the patient, not based on the modality.
yes, of course.
Right. So my sub question, Tharindu, was now that we understand what is complementary therapies, how can you integrate the concept of body, mind, spirit? Okay, because in complementary therapies, we understand that the health condition are connected to not only the physicality but also the other aspect of the person. So do you take in, I suppose that you do, because you talked about the character and the emotions, but how do you connect body, mind, spirit with your modality in your practice? How does it work?
Yeah, that is absolutely correct. Like Professor always used to say, diseases get cured from above downwards and inside outwards. So I remember one time when we were at the BMICH Congress of Acupuncture, Professor told everyone to raise their hands and to repeat after him. So everyone raised their hands, and then we repeated after him, diseases get cured from above downwards. So Professor asked, do you know the meaning of that? Then some of the doctors said that the disease will get cured first in the head, then the face, then the neck likewise. Professor said no. The diseases get cured from above downwards means first it should be cured in the mind, spirit, then only it will be cured in the body. So this is the Herring's law, and I apply this in my clinic as well. We should always assure the client that there is always hope. So the client should be happy. Now in Sujok, we call Sujok smile medicine as well, because the practitioner should smile at the client all the time. If you cannot smile, we were now, like Dr. Ajay Singh says, if you cannot smile, like sometimes we may have our personal problems, sometimes we may have uh, problems where we cannot smile the whole day. Then if you cannot smile that day, don't do any treatment, because if you don't smile, you cannot do sujo. So it is smile medication, and you have to give a pleasant assurance to your client first to cure this in his mind. So that is the main concept in sujo. So anyway, uh, we look at the iris, we analyze the emotional aspects, and we address that. And I give a lot of meditation methods, breathing exercises to calm down the mind. Now especially when we see the anxiety tetanic eyes, like I said, there is a structure called anxiety tetanic. So there are like robust anxiety tetanic eyes where they are so anxious, and they are worried too much, like for everything. If even if they get to hear a problem of one of their friends, they will be more worried than the friend who actually has the problem. So we give breathing exercises, we give meditation exercises. And I have to mention Dr. Bhuvanesh, my friend in India. We brought him down to Sri Lanka, and we had a wonderful session of meditation, and he taught the participants beautiful ways how to calm your mind, how to collect energy, and how to meditate, and how to do a proper breathing exercise. So I use these things, these techniques, these tools also in my clinic to make my clients, I mean, into the best
Right.
versions of them.
Many doctors, many complementary therapists claim that, and not only them, but many integrative medicine modalities claim that stress is the factor number one of disease and disorder. What is your opinion about that, Tarindu?
uh, Stress, yeah, it definitely affects the body and the mind. but I would not say it as it is the main factor. Now there are several factors which affect your health, mainly the genetic predispositions, the things which comes from your family history. Then your environment. Now environment is whatever what you eat, drink, and how you think, how you live, and how you love. So this is the environment. Whatever we eat and the food, the water we consume, this is the environment. And then the spiritual health. Spiritual health also matters. Then comes the age. Now age also is influential on your health status. So we have a thing called the health equation. It means the health status is equal to genetic predispositions plus the environment plus the spiritual health plus the age. So I believe all these things matter. All these things are influential on determining the health status of a person. So all these
Integrated.
things, yes, all everything is integrated. So that's why I have named my practice also the health equation, because we address on all these aspects.
Right, I understand. And then, um, but you, how can I say that? If you, I will give you an example. If you have a patient that have a very specific located problem, let's say bursitis. Okay, bursitis is a condition of the let's say a frozen shoulder. How can you connect, or well, do you connect the body, mind, spirit concept with a patient that comes to you and say, "Sir, I have a bursitis," because this patient he wants to heal from this bursitis and it is located on the shoulder. How can you use that concept on such a thing?
Okay,
And
if it
do
is
you use?
yes, yes, if it is frozen shoulder, I use acupuncture, because acupuncture is the best thing. I just prick a needle at stomach 38, and it will take the frozen shoulder away. So it is the best treatment for frozen shoulder. Like I said, depending on the individual, depending on the condition, I choose my modality. And most of my clients do not have a particular disease. Most of them visit me to become healthier, and to become healthier in the future, and to prevent diseases. Now we are talking about true prevention of diseases by iridology. So we analyze the iris, and we see the potential health issues, the nurture points, and then I plan a beautiful health uh, we can say a health
Plan?
routine, a health plan, or a health journey for each individual depending on their constitution. So, to answer your question, if someone comes with a chronic pains like that, then we address that local point. Now, in Sujok also we can address local areas, or we use acupuncture. And if the problem is related to the digestive tract, like most of the problems are related to the digestive tract, so I use iridology to see the digestive tract, and depending on the iris analysis, I give him some remedies to make his digestive tract better.
Right. A question that I forgot to ask about iridology is there a correlation with, I would say, classic Western medical technique of diagnosis and iridology diagnosis? Is there a correlation? Can you correlate something that you discover with iridology with the Western medical way to diagnose? Is there a direct correlation or there is no?
Okay, we have to do a lot of researches in iridology, especially in brown eyes. But during these years, we have discovered something to do with the kidney functioning rates. So we have developed a system to find out the kidney functioning rate by looking at the iris photos. And we have done a study with the blood samples of the same clients. And for the moment, I mean, up to now, it has given good results. So we have a lot of hope to do more researches, more studies, and I think we will be able to introduce iridology to Western doctors and Western diagnostic system as well in the future.
So, in a way, you're telling me that you start to find that there is a correlation.
Yes, yes,
There is.
yes. We are beginning to find it.
Yeah, very good. I'm very happy to hear that. But iridology also, as other complementary therapies, has their, I would say, their skeptic community. What are you, because they are telling that there is no scientific foundation to, I heard that. I heard that for so many things. You know me, I'm an energy healing therapist, and we always fight against the science community telling that there is no scientific background about that. What, in your case, are you telling to these people?
Yeah, I would say if you can logically prove it, right? I mean, you can always try hard and scientifically prove it, but uh, for the moment you can logically prove it. So if there is proof logically, it makes sense. And
Empiric, like empiric.
and yes, and now iridology. Now in these years of my iridology practice, I have seen if I make an iris analysis, most of the time, like at least 90% of the report is correct. Why I would say 90% means the other 10% the client may have not experienced. But if I like if a very young child comes for me to get this iris analysis, okay, all the potential issues and the predispositions I mention in the report, he may not have ever experienced those. But if an elderly person comes for an iris analysis, almost everything I mention in the report, he has already gone through it and experienced it. So they believe in iridology because of that. So that's why I said we have to do more studies, and we have to find the accuracy rate. I would say the accuracy level of iridology is more than 90%. Now,
Right.
the most sophisticated machinery equipment like the MRI has the accuracy rate of like 25% only. But a lot of people believe in the MRI result. I have diagnosed a lot of digestive tract issues where the client could not find, I mean, any doctor could not find, even after getting MRI scans, but the client was suffering a lot with chronic pains and all. Just by looking at the iris, within 2 seconds, I have told them, do you have a digestive tract issue? Then they've got shocked. They was telling me, we went to get all the tests, we have done all the blood tests, the endoscopies, we have done MRI, but still we could not find. You just looked at my eye, and within like 10 seconds you said, do you have any digestive issue? I said,
Yeah.
yeah, that is iridology.
Yes, I also encountered that so many times. Patients that receive even X-rays, tests, endometric tests, MRI, and they don't understand, they don't know, they don't find. So iridology is a very, it's an additional tool for classic Western medical doctor as well, right?
Yes, of course.
Because they can have this tool then have a better efficient treatment, right? So you're not that kind of practitioner that antagonize Western medical doctors to complementary therapy. What do you think about that? Because it's new, right? The complementary therapy philosophy is quite young. Before we were talking about alternative therapy, but we're not talking about that too much right now, right? And what do you think about that?
Yeah, actually, we have to have a good combination of complementary therapies and Western medicine as well. So I believe in future we will reach there.
Do you think that complementary therapies are going to be integrated into the healthcare system? Because right now we are facing a
Yes,
lot of
yes,
resistance.
yes. No, but it will definitely be integrated because now, for example, the current situation, the COVID situation in Sri Lanka, all the Western hospitals, they the main medicine they gave is coriander tea and ginger. So it is purely naturopathy, or you can call it Ayurvedic remedies. It is coriander tea and ginger. That was the main medicine for COVID in all the Western hospitals. So definitely, if people are not willing to integrate these, the diseases will do it ultimately.
Yes, the disease will decide for themselves.
Yes.
Right. So after learning and practicing all of these so many things, what is your next plan, Tharindu? Are you planning to write a book? Are you planning to, I don't know, open a chain of clinics? What is your future plan?
Yeah, my I have a lot of future plans. So my main plan at this moment is to teach the other doctors, my students, of these wonderful subjects, mainly iridology, and I want Dr. Ajay Singh to teach my students sujok therapy. So these are my future plans, the initial future plans. Writing a book, actually, a lot of people has already told me, why don't you start writing a book? So I have to find some time to do that also, and I want to include all my researchers in the book. The immediate future plan is to teach as much as possible.
Very good. Last question, because it triggers my curiosity. There is naturopathy, there is in South Asia, in Sri Lanka, in India and South Asia, Ayurvedic medicine. And whether these two are very similar in a way that they are using plant, they are quite different. What do you know about the differences? Because you are meeting both of them. It is rare in Sri Lanka because most of the people are on the Ayurvedic side, but naturopathy is quite rare. What do you have to say about the differences between these two?
Yeah, in Sri Lanka, we have a lot of naturopaths, but the problem is their remedies, they don't come out of their family, so out of the generation. So we have a huge issue there. Ayurvedic medicine, actually, which comes from India, now there are a lot of Ayurvedic hospitals and a lot of teaching hospitals for Ayurvedic students. But naturopathy, we have several like various kinds of naturopaths in Sri Lanka, and we have a lot of plants. We have a lot of plants, a lot of herbs where we can use in naturopathy. But the problem in Sri Lanka, there are these naturopathic remedies are endemic to not only to Sri Lanka, even inside Sri Lanka, to various uh, villages. Various areas of Sri Lanka have their own endemic remedies, which will not pass to the next generation. So I would love to see if all of these naturopaths get together and form some association, or to form a forum where new learners can learn this stuff. I believe, now I know a lot of youth, they they would love to learn these remedies, but in Sri Lanka that issue is there. And I really like the thing you do, because you try to bring all the healers together and to make a forum. So these are the things which we should do.
So, Tharindu, thank you so much for this time that you took. You are very, very, very inspiring. Thank you for your time and thank you for the service. And thank you for also developing this science, because this is also a science. Huh? You're doing some research as well, are you?
Yes, of course. Right.
Thank
So
you.
thank
And
you
I
very
will
much
see you
for
very soon. Thank you very
uh,
much, Tharindu.
thank you very much for having me in this interview. It was really great talking to you. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll talk to you soon. Goodbye.
Bye bye.